The 1960s were a wild time for motorcycles. Designers and engineers were pushing the limits, creating some truly groundbreaking machines. This decade saw the birth of some of the rarest and most iconic motorcycles ever built, each with its own unique story and lasting impact. In this video, we're looking at 10 of the rarest motorcycles from the 60s and figuring out what makes them so special in the history of motorcycling. 10. Triumph Bonneville T120, 1959. When the Triumph Bonneville T120 hit the streets in 1959, it instantly became a motorcycle legend. And it wasn't hard to see why. It was a gorgeous and powerful machine named after the famous Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, where motorcycles and cars set mind-blowing speed records. This naming was a sign that the T120 wasn't just another bike. It was Triumph's answer to motorcycle lovers who were craving more speed and style. What made the T120 special was its 650cc parallel twin engine that could push the bike to over 110 miles per hour. Seriously fast for the late 1950s. The bike came in a striking blue and gray color scheme that turned heads wherever it went. Riders also loved its dual carburetors, which gave it the extra punch needed for quick acceleration. Today, finding an original 1959 T120 is like finding buried treasure. Most were ridden hard and put away wet, as they say, making surviving examples worth some serious cash. 9. Piaggio Vespa Allstate Cruisair, 1960. Now, if the Bonneville was the speed king, the Cruisair was the quirky cousin that nobody remembers but everyone wants to meet. This rare scooter was actually a Vespa in disguise, sold through Sears stores in America. Yeah, you heard that right. You could literally order this bike from a Sears catalog. What makes the Cruisair super rare is that it only stuck around for a short time. Sears tried to make the Italian Vespa more appealing to American buyers by giving it a new name and some unique features. It came with special badges, different headlight designs, and even some chrome bits that you wouldn't find on regular Vespas. The Cruisair packed a small 145 cubic centimeter engine. Not exactly a speed demon compared to the Bonneville, but perfect for cruising around town in style. Finding one today is incredibly difficult because most Americans didn't take these department store scooters seriously back then, and many were simply thrown away when they stopped running. 8. Honda CB77 Superhawk, 1961. The Honda CB77 Superhawk might not sound like a big deal today, but back in 1961, this bike changed everything. At this point, Honda was the new kid on the block in America, and nobody thought Japanese motorcycles could compete with European and American motorcycles. Then the Superhawk showed up and proved everyone wrong. What made it special was its 305 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine that could hit speeds over 100 miles per hour. Pretty mind-blowing for a small bike in the 60s. The engine was super smooth and reliable, something that made European bike makers scratch their heads in disbelief. Honda only made a small number of these in 1961, and finding one today is incredibly hard. The coolest part? This bike basically wrote the blueprint for modern motorcycles. That reliable engine, the comfortable riding position, and the way it handled. These features influenced motorcycle design for decades to come. 7. HarleyDavidson Sprint C, 1961. Now here's something that'll blow your mind. A Harley that isn't really a Harley. The 1961 Sprint C is one of the weirdest chapters in Harley-Davidson history. Back when American motorcycles were all about being big and loud, Harley decided to try something totally different. They actually teamed up with Italian company Mach to create this lightweight 250cc bike. Think about that. An American icon working with Italians to make a small motorcycle. It's like McDonald's asking a French chef to make their burgers. The Sprint C looked nothing like a typical Harley. It was light, nimble, and had a single-cylinder engine that stuck out horizontally from the frame. Totally different from Harley's signature V-twin design. They didn't make many of them, and for good reason, as most American riders weren't interested in a small Harley. Today, finding a 1961 Sprint C is super rare, and motorcycle collectors go crazy for them because they represent such a unique moment in Harley's history. 6. Ducati Scrambler, 1962. Before Ducati was making beautiful super motorcycles, they created something special in 1962, the original Scrambler. This was a motorcycle that could handle both city streets and dirt roads with equal confidence. That was the Scrambler's claim to fame. What made it super rare was that Ducati only sold it in America at first, trying to tap into the growing California motorcycle scene. The bike packed a 250cc single-cylinder engine that was simple but tough as nails. Unlike today's complicated motorcycles, you could fix most problems with basic tools. The Scrambler also stood out with its high-mounted exhaust pipes, knobby tires, and that classic 60s style that people still try to copy today. With only a few thousand ever made, finding an original 1962 Scrambler is near impossible. 5. BSA Gold Star, 1963. The BSA Gold Star wasn't just a motorcycle, it was the bike every cafe racer wanted to be seen on in 1963. BSA, Birmingham Small Arms, built these motorcycles in England, and they named it Gold Star, after their racers won a special award at the Brooklands Racing Circuit. What made the 63 Gold Star special was its 646 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine that could push the bike to over 100 miles per hour, seriously fast for the 1960s. Plus, each engine was hand-built and tested to make sure it met BSA's strict standards. If it didn't make enough power, they'd tear it down and build it again. The 63 model was the last year they made them, making it super rare. BSA only built about 500 of them that year because newer, faster Japanese motorcycles were taking over the market. Today, a restored 1963 Gold Star can sell for up to $40,000, and original unrestored ones are practically impossible to find. Motorcycle collectors consider these motorcycles the holy grail of British motorcycles from the 1960s. 4. Ducati Mach 1, 1964. If motorcycles could be rock stars, the 1964 Ducati Mach 1 would be the Beatles of its era. This Italian beauty wasn't just rare, it was a speed demon that changed how people thought about motorcycles. It was a sleek silver machine with a 250cc engine that could hit speeds over 100 miles per hour when most motorcycles were struggling to reach 80. Only 2,000 of these motorcycles were ever built, which makes finding one today about as likely as finding a unicorn. What made the Mach 1 special was its single-cylinder engine that used something called desmodromic valves, fancy tech that helped it rev higher and run smoother than other motorcycles. The coolest part? Each one was basically hand-built by Ducati's best mechanics, kind of like a custom-tailored suit, but for motorcycles. With its chrome fuel tank and sporty riding position, it looked fast even standing still. Today, if you can find one, you're looking at a price tag that could buy you a nice house. Before we move to the top 3 listed motorcycles here, if you had to pick just 3 motorcycles from the above list to own, which would you choose and why? Drop your dream trio in the comments below. 3. Royal Enfield Continental GT 250, 1965. The Continental GT 250 was Britain's answer to the growing café racer culture of the 60s. Think of café racers as the hot rods of the motorcycle world, stripped-down, souped-up motorcycles built for speed and style. Royal Enfield only made about 250 of these motorcycles, making them super rare today. What set the GT 250 apart was its red fiberglass fuel tank, super advanced for its time, clip-on handlebars, and racing seat that made riders look like they were competing in the Isle of Man TT. The bike's 250cc engine wasn't the most powerful, but it was reliable and could push the bike to decent speeds. The best part was its distinctive chrome side panels and humped seat, which made it look like a proper racing machine. This bike became a symbol of British motorcycle culture and inspired a whole generation of riders who wanted something different from the mainstream motorcycles of the time. Finding one today is like finding buried gold, as they are incredibly valuable and sought after by collectors worldwide. Two, Harley-Davidson AFLH Electra Glide, 1965. The Harley-Davidson FLH Electra Glide is one of the most famous motorcycles of the 1960s. Introduced in 1965, it was the first Harley to have an electric starter, making it much easier to start compared to older models that used a kickstarter. This made it very popular among riders who wanted a smooth and comfortable ride without the extra effort. The Electra Glide had a powerful V-twin engine and a classic design that looked both tough and stylish. It was known for its large front fairing and big, comfortable seat, which made it perfect for long trips. Riders loved how stable and reliable it felt on the road. What made this motorcycle rare was its combination of modern technology and timeless Harley-Davidson style. Today, finding a well-preserved 1965 Electra Glide is like finding a piece of motorcycle history. Norton Commando, 1967. The Norton Commando is a British motorcycle that became a legend in the 1960s. First released in 1967, it was famous for its speed, smooth ride, and cutting-edge design. It had a powerful 750cc engine that gave it plenty of speed, making it one of the fastest motorcycles of its time. One of the coolest things about the Commando was its isolastic system. This technology reduced vibrations, making the ride smoother and more comfortable. This was a big deal back then because many motorcycles were known for shaking a lot at high speeds. The Commando also had a sleek, sporty look that appealed to riders who wanted a bike that was both fast and stylish. It was lightweight and easy to handle, which made it a favorite for racing and everyday use. So, there you have it. Our list of the 10 rarest motorcycles from the 1960s. If you loved this video and would like to learn more from the definitive channel on the automotive industry, subscribe to this channel today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.